Let's talk about the simple, innocent dream of buying a new car. You see a car on a commercial, on the road, or maybe online. You like the car. You have the money or can get financing easily. In any rational universe, you'd click buy, a truck would show up 3 days later, and you'd spend the afternoon figuring out how to pair your phone. But not in America, because we love tradition so much. And nothing is more traditional than being legally mandated to sit in a cubicle for 6 hours while some bro named Jake, who is wearing a 2014 Auburn class ring and smells faintly of a fish sandwich, pretends to talk to his manager about some $2,000 environmental protection package you never asked about. But wait, it's 2026. Can't you finally bypass that dealership bullshit and buy directly online or some shit? Nope. We are currently trapped in a legal doom loop fueled by lobbyists. Turns out that in the eyes of state laws, it depends entirely on whether your car company's CEO spends his time launching rockets or lying to Congress about emissions. Now, if you're a trendy EV startup, you've spent the last decade playing high-stakes legal Frogger. Since these companies technically never had dealerships, they've argued they shouldn't be forced into a shotgun wedding with one now. In Alabama, however, the response was more, well, over our dead bodies. If you want a Tesla in the land of beer, guns, and college football, you have to visit an education center. If you ask the staff the price, they are legally required to pretend they don't know what the fuck money is. To actually buy a car, you have to go into some digital dark alley, the internet, click a button, the bookie, and then embark on a moonshine run to Tennessee or Georgia to fetch it, sort of like our ancestors did with salt. And if you want a legacy brand like Ford, Chevy, or Toyota, you are completely screwed. Thanks to the National Automobile Dealers Association, these legacy manufacturers are legally shackled to their dealers in a marriage more toxic than a relationship on Dateline. States claim they are protecting the consumer, and if you believe that BS, I have some nitrogen-filled tires to sell you. Note, the air you breathe is already 78% nitrogen, but the dealer wants like 5 Franklins for the extra 22%, please. So yeah, don't bother with the nitrogen. Okay, so nitrogen molecules are slightly larger than oxygen molecules. Because of this, nitrogen migrates through the rubber of the tire about 3 to 4 times slower than oxygen does, so they won't leak as fast. And nitrogen is an inert, dry gas. Plain old compressed air contains moisture that can cause the internal steel belts of the tire to corrode and the internal air sensors to oxidize over time. This is exactly why race car drivers use it. They need predictable handling at high speeds. Anywho, where was I? Oh yeah, states aren't protecting you. They're protecting the independent dealer, the guy who owns 5 locations, has his name on a stadium, and whose primary business model is adding a $10,000 market adjustment because the car is popular. So there's that. But I digress. The newest front in this war is Scout Motors, owned by Volkswagen. VW is trying to use the new company loophole to sell Scouts directly. The dealers are currently having a fucking meltdown. A massive class action lawsuit was filed by VW dealers, arguing that Scout is just VW in a vintage hiking boot, and that they have a contractual right to be the middleman. So we are living in an era where AI can generate a top 10 hit about Irish butter, but if you want to buy a Ford F-150 in Alabama, the government demands you first engage in ritual combat with a salesman in a short-sleeved dress shirt. It's a flawed AF system, and it's only staying this way because the people who sell you the cars also happen to write the checks for the people who write the laws. If you want to avoid dealers, as you should, get a Tesla or buy used.